What's it all about, Alfie?
I may even remember that song,
That's right. Is that where you named after that song, Alfred Zappacosta?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Were you?
Everything. Oh, sure. After everything about Michael Caine and just being such a nasty character and stuff. No, my grandfather's name was Alfredo.
Alfredo
Alfredo.
Zappacosta.
So my name is actually Alfredo, as you probably know.
Yeah.
Alfredo Pietro Francesco Zappacosta, and
Oh,
Alfie just sort of seemed to stick, but
well, welcome, Alfie Zappacosta, Wave 98.3 FM in Vancouver, and of course, Wave.fm all over the world. We're such big fans of you wherever we are.
You're
Yeah.
very kind, Vickie. Thank you, dear.
And we're so excited that you're going to be joining all of our Southern Ontario friends in Toronto at the Redwood Theatre. Let me see, September 8th. Not that far off, Friday night. What are you thinking about doing that gig? You've never been there before.
I have never been there before. I don't think it's had that much. To tell you too, we were just discussing what the possibilities of the history of the place, but all I know is that there was this new gig in town, possible, like a real nice theater, very, very performer friendly, and I made a call to Mr. Tim Nodder, who said we'd love to have you. So whether he'd really love to have me, but I would love to be there.
Yes.
The fact that I am going, I'm looking forward to it. So it's brand new to me, but a lot of musician friends of mine that in Toronto that have been through think it's a wonderful theater and a perfect match for the kind of things that I'm doing. And usually,
sorry, can we expect, like, what I love when I've seen you perform? I love the sort of cabaret setting where you can sit with your glass of wine and there you are up close and personal. Is that what's going to happen at the Redwood?
I would say yes. Seating and watching the show, pretty much sort of like in the way that Hughes Room would do things once upon a time. I mean, Hughes Room is still up and happening and doing things, but going back to the Redwood, yes, they'll be seating that way, and it'll be like a full band on my end, so it'll be pretty interesting that way.
When you say full band, what instrumentation are we talking about joining you?
We're talking bass, drums, keyboards, myself on guitar, and probably a neighbor of yours. And I was up in the Bruce Peninsula, Vern Dorge.
Oh, Vern.
So we've got a little bit of sax and a rhythm section and whatnot. So Marco Luciani, who's been my partner in crime for many, many, many years. Blake Manning, who's been drumming with me and doing a lot of recordings with me, and he's just a real busy musician as well. And Jerry Mosby, partner in crime. Both Marco and Jerry did a lot of writing with me in the past, a lot of writing, and it's wonderful to see them all, to get them all together, to be able to do this. Yeah,
it's going to be a wonderful party. That's September 8th at the Redwood. Let's talk about Vancouver now, because we're so excited. Of course, we've just celebrated our 1-year birthday, being Wave 98.3 in Vancouver, but you've got a long history with the Blue Frog Studios in White Rock.
A long time ago, I was talking to Kelly Breaks, and we went through there and just looking at the possibility of some dates. I don't know how we ended up connecting, but one of his first live recordings that he did, and video as well, was with Dan Hill. Many ago. I wish I could remember exactly how long ago, but he had mentioned it to me, and I said, well, I would like to do that. And he said, would you be interested in talking about it? We started talking about it, and there was a point in time where the radio station Up 97,
that's okay,
it'll come to me his name. Anyway, they were based on what was going on with CanCon and the things, and they were giving back some monies to artists instead of circa, well, I can't remember, but anyway, there was some money coming in, so it was about $5,000 worth of something. So we got together with there was this money coming in, and so I got together with Kelly. We talked about it, and the first time, so after Dan Hill did his bit, we got together and we recorded live at Blue Frog. And I thought that they were before Blue Frog was Blue Frog, as far as like a performance studio and venue. It was a studio. It was an actual recording studio.
Right. Yeah.
and they went ahead and did this stuff. So the recording possibilities and what the filming thing that they put together at that point, the actual videoing and filming wasn't as strong as what the recording was, but they've gone leaps and bounds above all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we did it there, and it was an awful lot of fun for them. Was the beginning of it was definitely an interesting thing for me, like being able to the havoc of having a band up there and having like a day to rehearse and sort of go, that kind of craziness is sort of like, yeah, no nerves or anything like
No,
that,
but
right?
Alfie, come
You're
on.
not jittery.
You're and when I say you're the oldest pro I know, I don't mean
Yeah.
that's because you're old.
No,
I
no, I
mean,
hear you.
you're the hardest working guy in Canadian music. When I watch your Facebook posts and I see is you're there, then you're there, then you're there, then you're that ocean, and then you're here, and then you're at that ocean, and then you're back to that ocean. Like, what keeps you going like the Energizer Bunny?
It took a long time to sort of realize it's really what I do for a long time. Just how this business could be so completely deflating in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and I found that what, in all honesty, what's important to me is it's not arenas. Obviously, it's not huge theaters. We've done things at your home. I mean, to know
Yeah.
that there's anywhere between 50 to 200 people that are sitting there, it's become. I started to see that if I did, you know, I always wanted to perform without having so many people. You got to pay manager, you got to pay the agents, you got to pay the promoters and people, blah, blah, blah. By the time they get it together, you might do maybe 2 gigs a year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like agents were knocking down my door to be able to sort of put you all over North America and whatnot. I found that I was very, very, very happy to be able to go to the West Coast, East Coast, in the middle of Canada, back and forth, and doing. If I'm in the East Coast, do 7, 8 to 10 dates. Go to the West Coast, do the same thing, and it kept me busy going on throughout. And I really enjoy playing to a smaller audience of people that they know they're coming specifically to see what you're doing. I can play music that I like because at this point in time, it's an audience that is quite familiar with what it is that I do. So I will continue doing that because it's a lot of fun for me. It seems to be well worth it. Listening to music that I've written over the years, and I can continue to write new music, and they're willing to listen. It's a perfect gig for me to go
It,
back and forth across.
you said you've done a couple of house concerts for me in my
Yes.
homes. And it's an amazing thing to watch my friends just sit in my living room, mesmerized by
Mhm.
you and knowing that you're right there and that in the break you're going to sign the CD and you're going to actually have a drink with them and talk to them and
Yes.
and
Yes.
be
Yes.
up close and personal with them. It's you're a I mean, I'm sure you could still command an amazing stadium show, but I also
Then I would have to wait. I would have to wait for people to sort of make a decision as to when you can do that. No, you don't come back till next year, or we've done this gig, so you can't do it for 2 years. Or
yeah,
if you think about this, hurry up and wait, which was part of this business for as long as I could remember. If you
right.
just get up there, I just started making a few calls. I got a friend that will call for me and just check and say, anybody interested?
Yeah.
And if I know that I have some kind of an anchor in Halifax, I've got these beautiful churches and things and stuff that in Bridgetown and stuff and all over the place down in Yarmouth and things that I've seen more of Canada. And I only want Canada too. I don't, it's not like I hate the world, but I don't need it.
Yeah.
And it's not like, like my freak flag fly here. It's more than enough travel,
Yeah.
and and I love it.
I
I
think
just,
this is actually a good opportunity to just say to anybody who's watching this or listening to snippets of it
mm.
on my radio show that you're open, right? If somebody wants you in their living room, reach out because Alfie is open to
I'm
coming to your
open to
house.
possibilities for sure, and of course we with our social media, Messenger, Facebook. I'm
Yeah.
Facebook constantly, as you know.
Yeah.
So and I read them. I read them
I
because it's
know.
a small enough situation that I'm dealing with that it doesn't. It's not overblown. I mean, it's like I go, oh my god, oh my god. I mean, if I can, I will. If I think that's something possible going on, but I do read them because I'm very much involved in what I do with my career at this point.
So your last album, 21,
Mhm.
saved. Go ahead. You
Yeah.
sang me some. Sing it. Go sing.
Nothing say.
I love it. Okay. When's the next album? Can we expect a new album soon?
Yes, I'm working on some stuff right now. I've written a whole bunch of tunes, and there's something in tunes like I get up and work with Andrew and some people, send me some ideas. There's something to be said about there's this idea, and then I get down there in front of the studio in my little studio in the basement here, and I start getting the song, and something to know that you have to start. You get up in the morning, you start writing a lyric or whatever. You start looking at the memory, get the melody, get the guitar. Again, you're accomplishing something. You're
Yes.
doing something every day. You're making something, and it's and I still feel wonderfully excited at the end of that when I feel the song is good, it's strong, and you know that you've accomplished. So I'll continue doing that, and so I have another record that's pretty much ready to go at this point. The great thing about recording records these days is because we don't have to sort of make sure that it's going to fit FM radio, or to make sure that the rock is like, you know, heavy metal guitar's got to work, or it's got to be jazz, or we can actually get a bit of a melting pot of everything that I've always liked, which is basically melody. And however that groove is these days, you can play with all those elements without having to stick yourself in this. What does Alfie sound like? What is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to be able to say, pardon of being like a fat-headed poop here, but just to be, I'm a writer. I'm a writer, so I like to write all sorts of stuff, and hopefully people will appreciate that.
Well, everybody at the Wave in the 23 years that I have been at the Wave. I mean, we are
Yes.
always waiting for something new from Alfie to come out because, like you say, we're never quite sure what it is. I mean,
Mm,
you write incredibly well and diverse, but then the way you cover songs and then make them your own. And the prime example is, of course, Me and Mrs. Jones,
yes.
who, for a lot of people,
Yeah.
your version is the version, not Billy Paul,
Yeah.
you, Alfie Zappacosta. So I guess my next question is, of all the songs that are out there, not written by you, is there one you would still very much like to cover? Is there another Me and Mrs. Jones out there waiting for the Alfie Zappacosta treatments?
You know, I never really quite thought about it. I think about songs that I think are wonderful. There's some things. It's funny because I had someone just asked me if I would sing this song in Toronto, and you know, something as silly as like, "You don't know me, you da di da da
Yeah,
da
yeah.
da da di da 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 da."
Beautiful
So
song.
there's some wonderful old songs, you know, Ray Charles and things that, you know, there's a, oh geez, you know, was raised in a barbershop with my father listening to all these incredible love ballads from old Italian stuff that nobody's ever heard of. And I'm sure I'd be weirding people up to start mentioning these things because they, what the hell is he talking about? But um, I'd have to sort of like sit down and really give it some thought because I'm still sort of like constantly coming up with things. But
I have an
you know,
idea.
the song I've always loved too is like, and whenever you need me, I'll be there.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
be
Around.
around. That's because I
Yeah.
love the guitar lick.
Spinners. Yeah. We play actually,
The Spinners, yeah.
we play several versions of that on the Wave. We play the Spinners and we also play Joan Osborne with the Funk Brothers doing
Oh,
that
was that
song.
right? A
So,
very good song. Well,
but
I love that song.
here's a thought. Put it out to your social media crowd. Put it out to Facebook, put it out to Instagram. Ask people, what's that one song
Song,
that
you
you would
know,
like to hear Alfie do? That is the song in your heart that you would
I'm always
love.
a little bit careful about stuff like that. All of a sudden, I find myself a lot more busy than I am. And I just have to wonder how busy do I want to be, you know, but that's this good idea for sure.
Let me ask you one other question. I always love these sort of fantasy things. You've worked with a lot of people in your life, obviously. Is there somebody, a musician right now on this planet alive that you would still very much like to work with? Sing a duet with, a musician you'd like to play with? Just somebody that you feel a collaboration would be wonderful.
Um, Sting would probably be someone I think that
Ah,
probably just because of his writing from you know where he went from the Police to the stuff he does. I think uh, his way of thinking too, to know that a song, when he writes a song, there's got to be a way to be able to take that song to strip it down to its to its core. So if
Yeah.
you grab a guitar and get it, you should be able to play it just as a single standing up there, to be able to take that song and it still stands up on its own. So I've always appreciated the fact that when I see Sting and there's no band or anything around them, that, I'm always impressed that he can hold on to a guitar and sing the song, and just he and his voice and guitar can actually still maintain the essence of what that tune was.
Yeah.
And I find that I have a lot of respect for it. And not to say that, big deal, he's got a lot of people that have a lot of respect for him, but I've always appreciated that, because not because he said it, but I always felt that way.
Yeah.
So I probably would enjoy something like that. I mean, the chances of that are completely not done off. As far as Canadians go, there's great writers, the Mark Jordans of the world. I mean, I've lost complete track of a lot of the people that are out there and
Well,
stuff.
you've recorded Tears of Hercules, which is a Mark Jordan song, and
That's
you do
right, Mark
such an
Jordan
amazing
song.
job on that
Thank
song.
you. That was
Yeah.
there was definitely that, and I remember Earl Rosen at Marquee Records. That was definitely, and Glenn Morley in Toronto, who was producing that record at the time, were big fans of Mark as well. So
Do you know who I
all
would
the power to him. Yes,
I would love to hear you do a song with Chris Bodie on the trumpet,
on trumpet.
because Chris does the thing with the trumpet that not many trumpet people do as well as Chris, and that's he brings it all back. It's not he doesn't blast it out into your face.
Yeah,
No, it's so intimate the way that Chris plays the trumpet, very much like the way you sing, and you're totally capable of rocking it out, blasting it out, but
yeah.
you don't, not all the time. Sometimes, like when you start that Si tu sei grande,
Yeah.
that song, which I just totally love. Hang on, I have to just click my screen. There we go. We have 4 more minutes, Alfie, so we're gonna have to wrap up.
Yes, Derek.
But
Yes,
I could totally see you and Chris doing something
I
absolutely
would love to. I
magnificent.
mean, I would love to. That we're talking about someone sort of like, in a not minimalist, but less is best in some kind.
Yes, yeah,
He picks his melodies very carefully, and the mood. You're right. I mean,
yeah,
it's wonderful that way to pick what's the essence of. I think you're right.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna work on that. See what I can do for you. Get you and Chris in the studio together.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
I'm sure we do.
I actually, my very first Zoom ever was with Chris Bodie, and it was his second. It was my first. And he was telling me how people just drop into his lap. That's how he ends up with his collaborations. He never knows. Shows up, there's a country singer. He goes, okay, let's do something. Right. So
Okay,
then
let's do something.
he
Sure.
and Vince Gill are all of a sudden doing something. Okay, so let's talk one more time, just because I'm very excited for our Toronto people to see you at the Redwood on Friday,
Yes.
September 8th. I believe it's on in the East End of Toronto, but
I
of
think it's
course,
Danforth. The address, it's on Danforth. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure that on Facebook, if anybody's looking, there's an ad. So the addresses and whatnot and information will lead right to them. So
right.
website, Shy.
And I'm sure you're old school enough that you'll have CDs and people can get your autograph and all that kind of fun stuff.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, there's things to do. I mean, I'm sort of wondering what to do with these CDs. I mean, it's definitely becoming you know what I'm saying. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I certainly not ordering them anymore
Yeah.
unless some people ask specifically. But
Yeah.
they're
But
becoming very few.
they'll come back. It'll be like the way vinyls come back, and one day everybody's gonna go, "Where are all the CDs?" And
Yeah,
then,
well, they're with the EPs,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
the LPs.
Well, Alfie, always a pleasure to see you and talk and chat with you. And hopefully we'll get together soon. And you know how much
Love
we
to.
love you at Wave 98.3 in Vancouver and Wave.fm.
To Mary, to everybody, to yourself, Vickie. What a pleasure to see you again. Thanks.
Yeah, you too. All right. Take care.
Here, doll.